All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Those Two Dudes. It's that dude, Josh.
It's that dude, Ruben.
We are super honored today. We got a special guest in the house. We got Miss Sam Cardona, the girl who talks sports, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter handle is the acronym of that. Check her out, please. Sam, welcome to the show today.
Thank you guys so much for having me on. I'm so excited to be here. This is going to be so much fun.
It is. I know for a while we were kind of covering a few different regions throughout the U.S. This time we get to talk about New York sports. As you can see, I'm live in Yankee Stadium right now. Let's talk about them. Let's talk about the New York Yankees.
Yeah, the Yankees are, they're not disappointing me, but they're also not, blowing me out of the water. They're 23-19 right now. So Aaron Judge has really improved this season in terms of what he's supposed to be doing, which is being a big bat. And I believe he has 11 home runs this year so far. And he has the best batting average on the team with 295. Stanton, on the other hand, who's also supposed to be another big bat, he just got injured again for the third year in a row. I every year I say he's just such a waste of money. I don't even need it. I don't even want him on the team anymore. The Yankees, I think, are in an okay place. We can be in a better place, but they're not awful, if that makes sense.
For what's been for the past few years now, they just get bit by the injury bug all season. Yeah. And this year is no different, right? I think, like you said, Stanton's about to hit he's going to hit the IL. Judge is doing good. He's progressing. He's killing it right now. He is leading the team in the batting average. I think he has 12 home runs, which actually puts him tied for second, I think, in the bigs. So he's killing it there. But it's just always about the injuries.
Gary Sanchez.
Yeah, exactly.
Who, I feel like this is his redemption year, and if he doesn't do well, like he's not gonna be a New York Yankee any longer. So with the fact that he is now, he's day-to-day right now. So not great for him, especially with Kyle Higashioka coming into the mix and kind of doing outstanding and being great, especially with Cole. I don't think Gary's going to be sticking around much longer unless he really shows up for the rest of the season, but I really just don't see that happening.
Is it just injuries, or do they have other issues too? Like, one of the question marks that I noticed when I was kind of researching a little bit was there are question marks as far as pitching goes. I mean, I know they got the bats and whatnot, but like pitching, I know they have Cole, and then behind that, I see like basically question marks as far as the rest of the starting lineup goes. Is that the case, or is the pitching fine? It's just injuries? What's going on there?
I think that the pitching also. I mean, I believe Adam Ottavino is injured as well. I mean, that ties in both of them, pitching and injuries. But yeah, I think that we struggle a bit in the bullpen. And while we have Garrett Cole, who's probably one of the best pitchers in the league behind DeGrom, to be quite honest with you, I mean, that he's outstanding and I'm so happy he's on our team, but we can't just rely on one guy. One guy can't pitch every single game. So, bullpen depth is definitely an issue, and it we can resolve it in the off season, I suppose, but it's definitely another thing. And there's also, in terms of our outfield too, is kind of a little weird. Brett Gardner is still here. I love Brett Gardner. He's one of my favorite Yankees. He's the vet of the team, but he's definitely getting older, and they brought him back this year. I was really surprised. I thought this was, last year was going to be his last season. The New York Yankees are very conservative team, and no beards, no long hair, like that whole thing. I really don't think Frazier fits in that mix in terms of being like a disciplined kind of person, and that's fine. It's not a bad thing. I just don't think he fits in our scheme in terms of chemistry. Like Ruben was saying, Hicks is out, and you got Judge out there, but I think that's also a bit of a problem, is the rotation of the outfield.
I think you said it best about, the Yankees have the reputation, very clean cut, very businesslike. Look at Odor. He joined the Yankees and he just shaved that long.
Shaved right off. Yeah.
Right off. And I mean, just a whole new person. But I think things are looking up. Luke Voigt just came back from injury. He came back. I know he had a home run against the Rangers the other day. Garrett Cole is on fire. They kind of roughed him up a bit out in Arlington, but aside of that, he's had a great season. I know he's at 85 Ks for the season. I think that's second in the bigs, to only 5 walks. which that's I can't do that.
Impressive.
Yeah, that's crazy. For where the Yankees are right now at 23-19, I think it's their division to lose.
That's if Stan can stay healthy, because apparently he just left and right, always on the injury list.
You mentioned, football being your one love, the New York Giants. You were spoiled into some Super Bowls there with Eli Manning.
Yep.
Let's talk about the Giants. They just had a draft.
I'm going to be super honest with you. When I watched the first round of the draft, I was having a conniption. I was losing my mind at the picks that they decided to go with Kadarius Toney, because I was not super familiar with him. I'd heard his name around, but I was like, that first round, I'm focusing on people that I expected to go in the first round. Mm-hmm. I was actually on a live stream during that time, and there's just like a full-blown video of me just like freaking out because I was like, I look like I'm crying. I'm not crying in the video, but I have like my hands over my mouth and I'm like, what is going on? When the Eagles and the Cowboys traded, and the second it happened, I was like, oh, they got Devontae Smith. Like, that is like the only reason why the Eagles would trade up to 10. And the second that happened, I was like, okay, who else is here? Are we going to go wide receiver? Are we going to go edge? And once we traded with the Bears to go down to 20, I was like, okay, this seems like where we would draft an edge. And Kwity Paye was still on the board. I was feeling like, oh, Kwity Paye would be an excellent, addition to our defense. I would love that. And then they said Kadarius Toney, and I was like, okay, that is just out of left field, but that is the most Giants thing ever. They love drafting randoms at Exhibit A is Daniel Jones. Like, nobody expected Daniel Jones in the first round, not let alone in the top 10. Like, that was. But I will say I was a Daniel Jones. I am a Daniel Jones supporter. I really think that the kid got it in him. But in terms of the rest of the draft, our second round pick gets an A+ with Azeez Ojulari. I think that was probably the best thing that we could have done. And we kind of focused around for the rest of the draft. And I think that we did a fairly good job. Like I said, I was a little bit concerned in the beginning. However, now I'm kind of feeling a little bit more excited. And with the addition of Toney and the addition of Kenny Golladay and the other people that we've added to our offense, I'm feeling really confident. I'm feeling really excited for this season.
I've had them at like an A- for the draft.
Yeah.
We had a hell of a draft. Getting that linebacker out of Georgia, an absolute stud.
Yeah.
Josh, I know you'd love this. In their third round, they picked up the cornerback Aaron Robinson at UCF. Josh is a big proponent of non-Power 5 college team. Super embarrassing.
Aaron Robinson's nice, though. I think that's still in the third round, too. But I'm going to be honest, I didn't think the Giants they went 6-10 last year. I didn't think nothing of them. I don't follow them too much. But then doing a little bit of research for this video, I noticed they were a top 10 team in defense last year already.
Yeah.
They were 10, ninth in points allowed. And then they had the injury to their running back Barkley. That affected the season. So I noticed what they did. They go out and get Kenny Golladay, put a weapon out there for Jones. They pick another receiver in the first round. They also got Kyle Rudolph, the tight end, to complement their other already.
I love him.
Tight end. So they could run some more 2 tight end sets. They could do some different stuff. To be honest, I could see the Giants going like 10-6 this year and possibly winning the division. So.
That is generous. Thank you.
That's super generous, dude. I don't know what you're doing, man.
You also got to make sure you add a number to that. We're at 17 games this year.
17 games this year.
Right.
Yeah. My prediction was 9-8. So I have them just getting over to a winning season next year. But to be honest, the NFC East is a different division this year. I feel like Dak's coming back. The Eagles are kind of figuring out their whole situation right now. I mean, I feel like they're going to be on the lower tier unless they, Jalen Hurts just pops off like nobody's business. But new coach, new, starting quarterback, it's going to be a little bit of a growing pains situation. And the Washington football team has Ryan Fitzpatrick, who is a force to be reckoned with. He is I love watching him play. I love watching Fitz play. I loved watching him in Miami last year. And this division, I think, is slowly changing. And when we got a lot of people in free agency, I was really excited because I was like, wow, we actually have things that we needed for our offense for Daniel Jones to actually perform well. Because I feel like one of the problems with Daniel Jones not being as good of a quarterback as people thought he would be is because he wasn't given the tools to succeed. And one of those things was, which is why I'm so excited about Kyle Rudolph, a big tight end in the end zone. We didn't have that. And when I found out we got Kenny Golladay, I was like, this is great. We actually have a star receiver. We haven't had a star receiver in quite some time before, I think since OBJ, really. And this offense is really great. And like you said, top 10 defense. And we've just added an outstanding edge and some other really great additions in the draft. And I really feel like our team is slowly coming together. And one more thing, Daniel Jones finally has a consistent head coach and offensive coordinator with Joe Judge and Jason Garrett. He hasn't had the same coach and offensive coordinator 2 years in a row. So consistency is also key.
I have the Giants going 9-8. I think regardless, 9-8 is going to win the division. If we're talking about the division,
very possible.
I think that, I think it'll come down to the Giants and Cowboys. I have right below them as the Washington football team and then the Eagles. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that is probably the most unpredictable division out there.
It always is.
It always is. But, this offseason, they've had one of the best offseasons. They had a hell of a draft, picking up Golladay. They also signed Kelvin Benjamin. I know that's kind of flying under the radar. They signed Adoree Jackson, Josh, from your Titans. They got him. Getting Kyle Rudolph. They re-signed Leonard Williams. So, this team is built to succeed. And it's also built in case of injuries like Saquon Barkley.
Right.
So, so there essentially won't be any excuses and help for Daniel Jones. But on the last point with the Giants, my last point, do you think Daniel Jones is the QB for the future with the Giants?
I genuinely hope so. I like the kid. I like his passion. I like how he fits into our scheme. I like how he is literally just an Eli Manning control copy paste. Like that is he could be his son, to be quite honest with you. I have like this conspiracy theory that Daniel Jones is actually Eli Manning's long lost son that nobody really knows about. But regardless of that, Daniel Jones, like I said, he's struggled a bit with the fact that he was thrown into the mix. Eli was still on the team, and he's trying to fill these really big shoes, and it's just like the consistency, like I was saying before. I mean, he went from so many different coaches, and with Joe Judge coming to the mix, I mean, that's very different than Pat Shurmur. Like, we are very, very different schemes here, and I think with these offensive weapons, it's going to prove a point, because if Daniel Jones doesn't do well this year, then it's not the team. Then it's Daniel Jones. And because he has all the pieces he needs now. He has a head coach and an offensive coordinator from last year. He has new pieces in the offense. He has an outstanding defense to make sure that the other team doesn't score more points than us. So if this isn't Daniel Jones's year, then we're using that first round pick that the Bears gave us for next year to draft a new quarterback. And that's just going to be what happens.
Well, I had 10-6, but I forgot they added a game. So, I mean, I don't know, possibly 11-7. I don't know.
Be 11-6.
Now you're adding too many games.
Come on, dude. Math is hard.
I'm going to have to it's going to take me some time to get used to this, but yeah, something like that. 11-6. I think they're going to win the division. I don't even know if the Cowboys are going to be second. That might be Washington.
Okay.
Cowboys, they still got, until they can play defense, I don't know.
Talking about the other team that shares a stadium in MetLife with the Giants, the Lonely Jets.
I feel like this has been a narrative that the Jets have experienced many times throughout their years. I mean, we can go back only 3 years to Sam Darnold, who was saying that he was going to be staying in New York his entire career. Even not a quarterback, but Jamal Adams was even saying, he's like, I'm going to win Super Bowls with this team. I'm like, Jamal, you didn't do that. Like, now you're on the Seahawks. So, the thing is that everybody always says, like, this is different. And this time, I really genuinely feel that Robert Saleh is a totally different coach than Adam Gase. I mean, Adam Gase is just a train wreck, to be quite honest with you.
He should have never been the coach ever.
I don't know how he got a head coaching job. Robert Saleh coming into the mix, another defensive-minded coach for the Jets. But Zach Wilson, I feel like, could fit this team a little bit. And like I said, it's the same situation kind of with the Eagles here. new coach, new quarterback, new team. Like they're just kind of building this brand new team, and it's a new season. I want Zach Wilson to do well. I think that he is a phenomenal quarterback. I think that he is really good at decision making, under snap. And I think that he is really careful with the ball. I believe he's like, it's very rare that he throws an interception. I mean, obviously college football is very different than professional football, but, I feel like he could actually do fairly well on this team. Now, in terms of just like life itself, coming from Utah to New York City is going to be very different. I hope they don't just like tear him up. It could be turning over a new leaf, but also we've seen this story before and we know how it ends.
I feel like this is an all new Jets team and it is turning the page. I love the coach. I love him. I thought they had a hell of a draft. I think that they're surrounding Zach Wilson with a much better team that they ever gave Darnold. The draft was automatically catered to help Wilson going into his first year, right? So you get Wilson in the first round, and then you get Vera Tucker, the O-lineman at USC, also in the first round. So you're looking to protect it immediately. And then you also go out and get weapons. You get Elijah Moore, wide receiver at Ole Miss. And then you also get the running back at North Carolina, Michael Carter. Then you also sign from Tennessee, you get Corey Davis, the receiver. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they are building this team to almost win immediately. I mean, obviously not have any serious shots in the postseason, but I mean, to be far more successful than they've been over the last 4 or 5 years.
I am very excited to see Zach Wilson play, mostly just because he is a phenomenal quarterback and he came out of left field. People were talking about Justin Fields going at 2 for such a long time. And then Zach Wilson came to the mix and they were like, oh, no, never mind. Forget that. He's stamping in at number 2. And like everybody was just like, yep. And it was Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson on everybody's mock draft. So I'm excited to see him play. I want to see what he's like in terms of the division games, because I feel like this division is really hard for him to compete in. The Patriots, I think, Bill is always up to something. He's always up to something. He's planning something with Mac Jones. I don't know what it is, but he's just always is plotting. The Bills are my second team, to be quite honest with you. I love the Bills. I love Josh Allen. I love what they did in the postseason last year. And Miami is, Tua is making his way, but I feel like they're improving in the offseason and they're making their defense even stronger than it was before. So this division is going to be tough for him.
I did follow Zach Wilson in college, so I'm excited about them picking him up. He can move out of the pocket. He's got a very strong arm. So I'm excited about Zach Wilson. They got a new coach. I know they got my receiver, Corey Davis from Tennessee.
With the Saints, who's going to be the quarterback?
I feel like we can't write Jameis Winston off here. I think that he is going to have, people are already talking about him possibly being MVP candidate. Obviously, no. we can't jump that far. I don't think we have to write the Saints off all too quickly just because Drew Brees is gone. They're still an amazing team.
They are an amazing team, but now without a quarterback. So essentially, like
you're writing him off.
Yeah, I am writing him off. I am writing him off. 100%. I'm writing him off. Oh, I don't even know what the right. He got
LASIK eye surgery. He's good now. He can see again. He's fine.
Okay, let's say that LASIK eye surgery went well. That eliminates 10 interceptions. He still throws 20 plus interceptions.
But he still threw 33 touchdowns and he couldn't even see. Imagine what he could do if he can see. To play devil's advocate, though, Jameis Winston just sat behind one of the best quarterbacks almost ever for an entire season. He's got to have learned something this past year from him. And with Sean Payton, who is a Super Bowl winning coach. So, you can't just, I like Jameis Winston. I think he could be really great. And I want to see him start for the Saints.
I can't remember going into an NFL season where there's just a ton of question marks with so many NFL teams, especially their star quarterbacks, i.e. the Green Bay Packers,
Nice transition there. I am a huge Aaron Rodgers fan. I love Aaron Rodgers. Have been loving watching him play, especially these last couple of years. The thing is, I feel like I flip-flop all the time in terms of whether he's leaving or not, because it's like something will come out and I'm like, oh no, he's not leaving. They're just gonna pay him some more money. They're gonna rearrange his contract. Everything's gonna be fine. He's just making a stink because he wants more money. He's getting married. He wants to have a kid. You know, I get it. But on the other side of things, then I'm like, oh, he like hates the front office. He hates them. And like him and Matt LaFleur even started off on like a rocky relationship. I think that they've gotten back, like they are cool now. But Aaron Rodgers, even when Mike McCarthy was there, like Aaron Rodgers was like, I'm in charge here. Nobody's listening to me. This and that. And I'm like, Aaron, you gotta relax. This is an organization. You're not the president of the Green Bay Packers. I want him to stay in Green Bay. I love watching him play in Green Bay. I also love the idea of him going to another team. I know he's talked about the Raiders, and the Broncos, and that would make that division even better. Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers showdown twice a year. I would just die. It would be phenomenal. I would absolutely love it. But it's hard to say because Aaron Rodgers is a weird guy. He like just is like, and that's fine. But he's just pulled off like some weird things, like after they lost the NFC championship game, he was just like, yeah, I don't know where my future's going to take me. And then that's what that spiral was. Everybody was like, what are you?
He didn't have to say that.
Yeah, no, he just wanted to stir the pot a little bit. But now it's like, oh, are you actually considering leaving this team? Like, it's obvious that there's a lot more problems to him than just like one thing or just a contract issue. So I flip-flop all the time, but his whole deal is very confusing. But honestly, wherever he ends up, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, at first when they came out with all this news about him wanting to be out and all that, I thought, okay, this is too much stuff. It's all coming from everywhere. I thought he was gone for sure. But then as I've been listening to more headlines and stuff like that, I'm thinking he's staying. If he leaves, if he just walks and retires or something like that, he's got to pay the organization back like $30 million or something like that, I heard.
Oh,
so,
dang.
I mean, I don't think he would retire if they kept him. On top of that, they're a really good team. I mean, they're close to. They're competing for a Super Bowl. They went 13-3 last year, I believe. So they're not
one seed.
Do what?
They were the 1 seed.
Yeah,
One
in the
seed,
NFC.
right. So I mean, they're right there knocking on the door. So I don't see him just leaving, like walking away from the game. He's got too much in the tank. He'll have to pay back $30 million. So he's not going to leave, and I don't think Green Bay wants to get rid of him because they're so close to competing for a Super Bowl. So
Aaron Rodgers is such a drama queen, so like I think he's just loving life right now. That day that it came out, like draft day, he was at the Kentucky Derby. Not a single care in the world. He did not care. He was like, "You guys just keep talking about me. I don't care. I just stirred the pot. Now everyone's just freaking out."
And to piggyback off that, he is a drama queen and he's super petty. So like,
petty.
When you get on his bad side, you're gonna stay on that bad side. You know, yeah. I mean, let's not to throw his brother under the bus, but you know, Aaron Rodgers doesn't, according to his brother, doesn't talk to the family anymore. If he's not talking to his own family, and you're the Green Bay organization and you piss him off, like what do you think's gonna happen to you? Which takes me to the other side, Tampa Bay. You know, they go on this, you know, historic run with not even arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. Does Tampa Bay do it again? I
could see 100% the Bucs being back. The fact that they have their entire Super Bowl team back in the mix here, like they literally don't have anybody different, I think just goes to show that they are a force to be reckoned with. Bruce Arians and Tom Brady obviously have a very weird relationship, but it seems to be working out for them. In terms of the Chiefs, though, I don't know if they're going to make the Super Bowl again. I'm sure they'll make the playoffs again, but if we're going to be real, if we're talking Super Bowl predictions this early, I think it's going to be Bucs and Bills.
I do see the Bucs returning. They returned all 22 NFL starters. That's never happened. I say the Bucs and Chiefs. Okay. I will say if the Bills can get home field advantage in the playoffs, it's going to be really tough for Kansas City to come into Buffalo with a full stadium in January to win that game?
Well, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I mean, it all hinges on if they got their O-line shirt up. But other than that, that's all they really needed. They still got the best weapons in the NFL. So as long as they get that shirt up, I'm going to stay with them in the AFC. The NFC, yeah, the easy thing would do is to say Bucks, since they're returning everybody. But I mean, when's the last time a team has repeated? So
it's true.
I mean, I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna take the Rams. Actually, basically, they were a quarterback away, and I think Matthew Stafford is that big of an upgrade over Jared Goff to where they could compete for a Super Bowl. So I'm going out on a limb a little bit. I'm gonna go with the Rams in the NFC.
Are you saying Rams Chiefs?
Rams Chiefs, yes.
You think they could pull off one of those games like the Monday Night Football game a few years back?
That was the best
the
Monday
greatest
night
regular season game of all time.
Of all time. I literally was just talking about this the other day. I was like, if I could erase any game from my memory and watch it again and feel the same emotions that I felt the first time I watched it, I would watch that game over again. I would love to see that repeat in the Super Bowl. Wait, let me ask you guys a question. How do you guys think that Jared Goff is going to perform in Detroit? Do you think that it's like the same hype as Stafford being in LA?
Josh.
I think it's easier. I think it'll be easier on Goff because he won't have the pressure, from
True.
Big market. I don't know. I mean, that organization's just been terrible though. They're gonna have Jared Goff is not a superstar quarterback. They're gonna have to get the right pieces around him for him to be successful. And I don't know if I trust the Lions to really do that because they haven't shown that they can do that ever.
You remove Stafford out of the picture and you put in an average quarterback and Jared Goff, and then you lose your top two wide receivers in Kenny Golladay and then Marvin Jones. The season's not looking good. I know they beefed up the O-line, which is nice, but they can't get a running game to save their life. Goff's not the answer, but I honestly don't think that just getting a really good quarterback is the answer either. I don't know.
No.
We'll see how the Yankees fare this season. I know it's their division to lose. We'll see how the Giants season goes. We all have great expectations on them. Fingers crossed for sure. I have higher hopes for the Jets this season after having their offseason new coach. With the QB moves, who knows? Maybe we'll be watching Aaron Rodgers full-time on Jeopardy instead. Maybe that's
which would be awesome. I'd love that.
Who knows? I don't know. That'd be cool. But Sam, thanks a million. Love having you on. Please come back soon. We'd love to have you talk. There's never an endless amount of New York sports that we could talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So appreciate it, guys. Go check her out. Girls Talk Sports, Instagram, YouTube. She's on Twitter with the acronym. Go check it out. Sam Cardona, thanks 1,000. Also, we're on Spotify too. We haven't even really announced that. Give us a follow. Listen to us there. We need more views. We got bills to pay. Appreciate it, guys. Like and subscribe. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know which region you want us to cover. Get at us. It's been that dude, Josh.
That's that dude, Ruben.
Click the button. Like it. Pound it. Let's go.